Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, November 12, 2021. Jamaica is expected to welcome 1.5 million visitors by December 31, with estimated earnings of $1.9 billion. Director of Tourism Donovan White gave those projections for the 2021 calendar year recently. He says the revenue forecast is based on two main things: an uptick in the length of visitor stay from 7.1 to 8 days, as well as an increase in the average spend from $169 to $180 per day per visitor since the reopening of the industry. He says this means that for the first time, our destination earnings are beginning to outpace arrivals, leading to projections of the destination returning to pre-COVID levels of performance round about the third quarter of 2023. According to the Director of Tourism, it is expected that by the end of 2023, Jamaica will welcome 4.1 million visitors, split between 2.5 million stopovers and 1.6 million cruise passengers, with a revenue outturn of about $4.2 billion. This compares to 4.2 million visitors and $3.7 billion in earnings for 2019. The 2023 projection represents an uptick of about $500 million in earnings. The tourism director says the JTB is working with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that Destination Jamaica continues to foster this growth. The Ministry of Education will be establishing a National Child Online Protection Committee to protect children participating in online learning. Minister Favour Williams announced Cabinet's approval of the committee during this week's post-Cabinet press briefing. She says now more than ever it is critical for students to have access to a tool that will protect them in the digital space.
The COVID-19 pandemic has served to underscore the importance of online learning as a key component of the delivery of educational services in Jamaica. Notwithstanding the tremendous benefits of technology and the use of ICT, online platforms present significant challenges to the safety of children in the virtual environment. Given the vicissitudes and hazards of the virtual space,
the minister says Cabinet also gave approval for her to name a chair for the committee and for the committee's mandate to include the development of a national child online protection strategy. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry has received another donation of 100 tablets to help students navigate learning in the online space. First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union (FHC) Foundation made the contribution to the ministry's One Laptop or Tablet per Child initiative on Thursday.
And what's especially heartening for us is that 40 of these devices will be distributed to our special needs students. And we believe that we, through this donation, will be helping to secure the future of our children.
Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Kassan Troop says the schools receiving the devices are among those identified for priority attention after the ministry did an assessment of students with special needs to determine how many are without the technology learning tools. She urged the students who are benefiting to be deliberate in ensuring they use the devices for their learning and not to be distracted by other things online.
We know what the online world brings. A lot of distraction. So this act of kindness is not for you to be distracted, but for you to be focused and for you to maximize on this opportunity of learning.
Beneficiary institutions include the Windsor School of Special Education, Listomere Gilby Maypen Unit, Carberry Court Special Education Unit, Randolph Lopez School of Hope, and Minto Primary, Penline, Chatsworth, Spanish Town, and Enid Bennett Primary, Kingston and Christiana High, Sister Society, YMCA, and Norman Gardens Primary and Junior High are also receiving devices. With the launch of its Offences, Points to Prove, and Authorities Handbook 2021, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, now has a reference guide to 104 offences and 103 related legal terms. The electronic handbook is a comprehensive reference tool with concise explanations of the key elements required to establish certain criminal offenses and identify gaps in the evidence around crucial legal issues and points of law. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson says its creation is part of the redevelopment of the force's Legal Affairs Division. He was speaking at the virtual launch recently.
There's been a consistent push to get our investigators always improving, even the good ones, because you can always improve. And I think that is fundamental. The quality of your investigations is fundamental, core business for our police force. Because what we do has to support, reinforce the criminal justice system.
The electronic handbook is being made available on the JCF's website, circulated among members of staff, and shared with the force's key stakeholders. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn says it is a critical tool for improving the quality of cases that are brought before the courts.
This particular handbook is going to go a far way in what I would call the continuing legal education of law enforcement, because that is critical for the success of investigation now.
The handbook was developed through the collaborative efforts of the JCF, the DPP's office, and the Integrity Commission. Funding was provided through the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs of the United States Embassy in Kingston. And finally, over 40,000 Jamaicans have benefited from diagnostic services paid for by the government under the Enhancing Healthcare Services Delivery Project. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update at Wednesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He reveals that since the start of the project in September 2019, 16 private sector entities have been engaged to complete 40,615 tests, including CT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, mammograms, and fluoroscopic studies. Dr. Tufton says the services were provided at no cost to Jamaicans, with government footing the $1.4 billion bill. He says the ministry is in the process of getting an independent review to validate the impact of the project. But in the meantime, an internal assessment suggests it has already resulted in a reduction of hospital stay and bed occupancy by an average 2 days.
Now, it may not sound much if you look at this data of persons who are staying in our hospitals, Madam Speaker. We have about 360,000 Jamaicans in that period. And if on average you have a patient, because they can get the test done quickly, reducing their stay time from 7 or 8 days to 6 or 5 days, it creates the turnover and improves the efficiency for more persons to access bed space.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.